In this video, I'm going to be ranking all of the business models I've tried in the last 8 years, and I'm going to make a tier list for them. So the ranking is going to be based on the most beginner-friendly business model to make 5K profit per month consistently. Now, I'm going to be ranking them on a few criteria. The first one is the amount of money you have to invest. So as a beginner, you're probably not going to have too much money to invest. You might have, 5K or less to invest, even if you've got like 3K. Whatever, I'm going to kind of base it on how much you need to get started with each business model. As a beginner as well, you probably don't have a lot of free time. A lot of people work jobs and, when you get home from work, you're tired, whatever. So that's another factor I'm going to take into account. And then the skills as well. So as a beginner, you're also likely to not have a ton of skills specific to these things. So I'm also going to rank it on how hard it is to build the skills. Now, with a beginner-friendly business model, the idea is to kind of hit that 5K a month so that you can then, number one, have more money to invest so that you can free up your time, leave your job or whatever, and then you can kind of build these skills so you can build your next business, which might make, 20,000 a month or whatever. But let's first of all, I've tried so many business models. I'm going to show you a few photos of each of the business models I've done, and I'm going to also give you a little backstory. So first of all, the first business model I ever tried was dropshipping. And dropshipping was cool. So I did this in like 2018 roughly. And back then that was 2018, 2019, 2020. That's when kind of 2020 was when COVID hit, or 2019. And it did really well back then, to be honest, because everyone was inside. There was a huge boom. And this was one of the months I did 142K a month. I think the profit on that was like 40, 50K or something. So really, really tight, really, really good. Somewhere around here I should have a photo of the dropshipping. Actually, I don't have any product photos or anything, but yeah, dropshipping, cool business model back in the day. In terms of money to invest, back in the day it was easier because ads weren't as expensive, but now ad costs are expensive. It's like really competitive. So that's number one. 5K isn't a lot to test with e-commerce because you're going to make a lot of failures. And then once you do get a winning product in dropshipping, to scale it, you're going to need good cash flow. You've got like a shit ton of, you've got to pay for your ads, you've got to pay for your products. You might get holds. So 5K isn't going to take you super far with this business model, especially if you spend a couple grand testing and then you might find a winner, but 5K isn't that much. In terms of the time it takes, it's a very time-consuming business model. This is one of the biggest things. You have to spend a lot of time researching, finding products, creating ads, building websites, and that also ties into this. So as a beginner, making websites and creating ads, it might seem easy on a surface level, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into actually creating good ads. And so overall, it's a pretty hard business model to get into. I've got a lot of friends who have done millions with dropshipping. I've done $1 million myself, $1 million of dropshipping. I've got friends who have done 5 million, and these days they find it hard. They're switching up onto other business models just because people know what dropshipping is now. Consumers are more smart to it, and so for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and put it as C tier. It's not the worst business model ever, but yeah, I think it's pretty tough. Next up, we've got e-commerce. So e-commerce is similar to dropshipping, except you are basically creating a brand yourself. So you maybe fulfill the products from your own warehouse. You maybe have a custom product. So this is something I've also done. And this is a screenshot here from one of my e-commerce brands. This one did 1.6 million in sales. That's like $2 million. You've probably heard us talk about this before. Maybe you recognize this guy. This guy's Craig. We had an e-commerce food brand where we sold licorice. It still runs today. I've exited it. He still runs it. With this business model, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of moving parts. It's a very fun business model. Here's like an example. We had Halloween products here, so we're doing some Halloween photos. We had this warehouse here. This was like our first warehouse. It was like a couple offices, and we had it was super crammed. We had like 8 employees between these 2 offices. And yeah, it was a cool business model. E-commerce, definitely somewhat fun. Here's another one I started as well. This was a dog supplement called Zips. One of the big problems with e-commerce and this kind of branding is like the fulfillment. It's like a headache. It's very cash intensive. You have to have a warehouse, you have to have the stock, you have to have staff. It's very, very, very cash intensive. So this business model, it's more long term than dropshipping. Dropshipping can die off very quickly. And this will teach you a lot of skills. But you need a lot of money to invest. You need a lot of time to invest. Seriously, a lot of time to invest. And you need a lot of skills with this. Like the learning curve for this is very steep. So for that, I'm going to put it in B. So while it is a good business model and it's more long term than dropshipping, it still does come with these problems, and it's very cash intensive. Like sometimes we would have to spend maybe 50K of cash to buy stock and prepay this, that. So yeah, it's a very cash intensive one. Now, next one, organic dropshipping. This is a cool one. Again, this is something I did maybe 2021 roughly. I used to do it with TikTok. So this is one TikTok store I did it with. One thing that's great about this with organic is that the money you need to invest in it is very low. You can just order a product and deliver to your house, make the ads, and yeah, you don't have to buy any ads. You can just organically post. The problem is it takes a lot of time. Like you need to be pumping out a shit ton of ads, and then the skill barrier is not too hard, but like you do need to know how to build good websites that convert. You need to understand how to make good ads, how to go viral. So there is a skill gap that comes in here. It's nowhere near as hard as like e-commerce and dropshipping, because realistically with this you have no cost. So even if your ads are shit, if you're making a lot of them, you can still make money. So I think I will put this at A tier. I'm going to put it low on the A tier because these days it's not that good. When I did this back then, nobody was doing it and it was very easy to make money. But yeah, I think now it's a little bit harder because the algorithm is a lot harder to break into. This is when TikTok was kind of first blowing up. So yeah, back then it was good. There's probably different routes you can take with it now. I've seen stuff like TikTok Shop. I've got no experience with that, but that here, I'm going to put it in an 80 because it's a pretty good model, to be honest. If you want to start making some money, you've got a lot of free time to put into it. Next up, we've got reselling. This is a big one that I was into a few years ago. Here's me with like 125 Yeezys. We had some Pokemon cards. We used to resell tons of stuff. Reselling is cool, but that's kind of it. It's just cool and fun. Like the money in it, especially these days, there's basically no money in it. Brands like Supreme and Yeezy, stuff like that don't really resell that much anymore. So yeah, and this was 125 pairs of Yeezys. I think they were like $100 each. So that was like $25,000 worth of shoes right here. And we only made like $10 per shoe or something. So we might have made $2,000 of profit, but the money we had to put in was 25K. So yeah, you have to do for free time. There's a lot of there's a lot of work to do. If you want to get big amounts like this, you always have to be going for drops. You always have to be setting up bots, and also the skills required. On a small level, you just enter a raffle, but on a big scale, you need to know a lot about the technical side of it. And it's kind of it can be a gamble as well. Sometimes like this, we thought this would be great. We thought we'd make a ton of profit. This we barely barely broke even realistically. So this reselling, I'm putting this like a D tier. Maybe there's stuff that resells now, but it's nothing like it was a few years ago. 5-10 years ago, this was great. Now it's just like horrible. I wouldn't even look at it. Next up, we've got agencies. So we've done a fair few agencies in our time. So we have done an NFT or like a crypto website agency. So we'd make websites for crypto projects. We'd make dashboards and things like that. So this is like a portfolio tracking one. This was a alcohol company that we're going to release an NFT or something like that. We basically built this website for them, and it was cool. It was fun, but it's difficult, to be honest. in terms of money to invest, it's not super cash intensive. Like you can get clients with organic ways, but you're not going to necessarily get a good stream of clients unless you pay. In terms of free time, you have to be working on it a lot, especially if you're doing it for free, making a lot of content. And then the skill gap, this is like a big one. You need to have some kind of skill there. You need to know how to market. You need to ideally know how to do something to actually provide a service to the customer, or you need to know how to hire people. But then again, it kind of gets complicated at that point because you need like the money and you need the expertise in hiring. So yeah, if you have a skill, like you have a specific kind of skill, this is good. And the margins are going to be higher than a lot of other business models. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it at the beta. I'd say it's better than dropshipping. It's a little bit better than e-commerce, to be honest, but it's still pretty difficult for a beginner to get into. The skill curve is quite hard. This one here, NFTs. Now, I haven't done too much NFTs, but Alex has, so I'm going to speak on his experience. First thing is that you do need some money to invest in this, like a little bit of money, a couple grand. So it's not super cash flow heavy, but you do need some money. In terms of free time, you need to be there for these drops of NFTs, so you need to be able to buy them. In terms of skill, like you do need to understand the markets, what's going to do well. But the overall big problem with NFT stuff is that it's kind of dead now. Like NFTs aren't really popping like they were, so there's not many projects releasing that you can make a shit ton of money for. So especially now, I'm going to put this in the D tier. I think it's kind of like reselling that. It's just like a wave that's kind of gone now. And back on the agency one as well, actually, this is a good thing to point out. I had a agency where I did ads for people for their Amazon businesses, and I spent 68K for someone for their Amazon business. I returned them $900,000, so it's like a huge return. And it was over like a 10 times return on their money, and they weren't happy with it. So that was an annoying thing. That's why I'm actually going to drag it down here, because dealing with people is actually annoying. So it's kind of here, actually. Software. So I've got a little bit of experience with software. Alex has got good experience with software. Investing, in terms of the money you need to start software, you do need money, at least if you don't know what you're doing. So you either need money to hire like devs and for your marketing. And so yeah, you need to hire devs, you need money for marketing. So there's a little bit of money required. In terms of free time, you kind of need to be on the ball with this. Like if you're managing a team, you need to be on the ball. If you want to vibe code it or like do the marketing yourself, you're going to need time, and you're also going to need skills. You need to know how to vibe code, and that's quite a learning curve if you've got no technical ability. Same with the marketing stuff. Now on software, it's cool because you can build good stable incomes, but yeah, the skill gap is quite hard. That's the biggest one, I'd say. So overall for software, as a beginner, I think I would also put this down in the D tier, just because while it is a cool business model, it's just like quite hard for beginners. Now, next we've got these two ones. We've got YouTube automation and YouTube search automation. So YouTube automation is a great one. So in terms of the money you have to invest, if you want to start a YouTube automation channel, it's not the most cash intensive business model, because there's things like, there's a lot of AI out now. So things like voiceovers you can automate, stuff like editing you can outsource for relatively cheap. So it's not super cash intensive. So if you had 5K, YouTube automation you could definitely get into. The free time thing, it depends how you structure it, but it's going to take some time because you're going to have to come up with your ideas, that kind of thing. And you have to manage your teams, whatever, figuring out ideas. And the big issue, I think, with YouTube automation is the skill gap. So getting into it, you're going to have to learn a lot. There's going to be a lot of learning because you need to understand how to make good videos, how to make thumbnails, ideation, scripting, editing. And even if you hire a team, you still need to look at their stuff and see, is this good or bad? So this is a good business model to like start because, you can make a start and you can make good progress, but still there is like a slight barrier to entry here. So I'm going to put it in A tier. YouTube automation is good, and I'll just show you, like, I've done a few bits with YouTube automation. Where are we? So here we go, for example, I had like a Reddit channel. Let's see, this is like 172,000 views, 48 hours. Stuff like Reddit, stories, that kind of stuff. It still makes a bit of money, but like YouTube's definitely clamping down on it, as we've seen recently. And so while this is a cool business model to get into, there is better. And that's why I'm going to speak about YouTube search automation. This is the current business model that we're doing right now. And this is kind of ticks all the boxes in terms of these three. So with YouTube search automation, you can start channels for very cheap. So like my first channel, I think I put like $2,000 to $3,000 into it. And this wasn't immediate. This is over the course of like maybe a couple months, 3 months, something like that. But if I wanted to put less, I could. I just understood the business model. In terms of the free time, you don't have to put too much time into it with specifically search automation, because you're making tutorials, things like that. You don't need to spend a lot of time on ideation and that kind of stuff. You just need to scrape the internet or figure out what people are searching for. And once you've got a team set up, it's pretty easy to go ahead and outsource it to them. So it doesn't require a shit ton of free time. So this is like one thing that's good about it. And the other thing that's kind of good that a lot of these business models don't have. So like all of these business models here, they require a level of skill, whereas YouTube search automation is literally a zero skill business, because you're not doing anything crazy. You don't have to have any technical know-how. All you need to know is figure out what people are searching for and then make the videos. And these videos aren't going to be complex things. It's not going to be like, how do I change my combobulator? It's going to be shit like how to add a product on Shopify, which is simple shit. And you know, your team can do that or you can do that. And you know, there's nothing more than that. It's just get a team to go ahead and make these videos, upload them, and then you'll generate the money with it. And so this is the business model we do now. We easily do 10, 15, 20K a month with this profit, and some screenshots here. And one thing that's great about it is very consistent. So like I uploaded a couple thousand videos here, and then it just kind of, you know, consistently makes money and still makes money to this day. So this was like $3,000 invested into the channel, 54K back. So that's like a 15 extra on my money. Here's another example here, like a couple grand invested here, and then it's spiking up and it's just consistently generating money. And this one's great. Once it's set up, it kind of makes that passive money every single month. But yeah, this is my opinion on the tier list. YouTube search automation is S for me right now. It's like, it feels like the dropshipping of 2025. Closely followed by YouTube automation. Then we've got organic dropshipping, e-commerce agency, dropshipping software, NFT, and reselling. Yeah, let me know if I missed any business models out and your opinion. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.